What's up, everyone? Today I'm joined by Census Fail. Thanks for taking the time to do this. Yeah, blessed with a beautiful weather today. So you're here on the Let It Enfold You 20th anniversary tour, which I'm very excited for. So that time, so 2004 is when the record came out, right? And in the US, I mean, I saw this archive footage of how crazy your shows were back then, like hype band. And so I didn't get to experience that hype, especially in Europe and in Germany in particular when I was a teenager. Thinking back to that time and how your shows were, I mean, did you tour in Germany during that time?
Nobody really did. I mean, you had to, so Germany, that time was really only punk hardcore. The most close band to us that used to come over was Hot Water Music.
Right.
And that's really still pretty removed from we don't have those punk elements, and we weren't a hardcore band. We were influenced by those things. So, I mean, we didn't come over here. Well, we came in 2004. We did something called the Vagrant Tour. We played with From Autumn to Ashes, Monine, and we actually played here.
At this venue logo? Okay.
Yeah, in December, I think it was 2005. I don't even, honestly, those 2 years are sort of a blur to me. But I know that it was around that time. I'd have to look it up, but we did come over. But even for, that was our style of bands just starting to come over here.
Because it's a little bit of a shame because I would have loved now to have been a part of that back then. But I mean, I was not a cool teenager. You know how nowadays it's all these 16-year-olds listening to really sick music.
A lot of our fans were of your age and younger, and I think that was also a thing is even though these venues are pretty all ages and pretty accepting, it's still you're not really going to shows on your own when you're 14, 15, 16. So you, whereas in America, I feel like there was a big culture of, we had Warped Tour. We had things we had things that parents would bring them to that they felt comfortable bringing them to and dropping them off at. And so when you were playing clubs and our fan base was younger when we first started, I think that kind of dictated where we could and couldn't play and those things. And we seem to miss Germany. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. It's unfortunate because I really like it here, and I guess we have been coming here since then. Because in my head I'm I don't know, we never play here. But then I'm oh wow, we did play here in 2004. We played at this same venue. Which is cool to see that this venue is still exactly the same as I remember.
Still around. And added bonus, I heard, through the grapevine, don't quote me on it, but I heard that this year this venue got air conditioned for the first time. So this venue is notorious for being so sweaty and just disgusting. We'll see. I'm very curious. But it's interesting that you're saying that you seem to have missed Germany because I feel the same. So I haven't lived here for most of my adult life. But I've actually only seen you guys live once. Yeah. But that was on Warped Tour. That was in the U.S.
Oh wow!
2018.
Okay. Yeah.
You actually closed the
stage.
Day in Virginia Beach.
Oh wow! Okay. Cool.
Yeah, 2018. And
oh wow!
That was
Okay. Yeah, I think after the pandemic, we were just well, I don't want to limit. I want to travel. I felt a real sense of oh man, I'm not able to tour, and so we came over here 2 years ago with Comeback Kid or Silver Sheen and Comeback Kid, and played in Hamburg and did Berlin. We actually did 10 German shows. It was awesome.
I wasn't in the country.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. Okay,
yeah, we played Schweinfurt. We got to play Coney Island, which was awesome because I've always heard about, Coney Island. We got arrested. It was awesome.
No way.
Yeah, I got arrested by a border patrol. Zoll.
Yeah. The Zoll. Yeah.
We were coming back from Czech Republic or Czech, whatever we call it now.
Czech Republic.
Czech. Yeah. And I had bought some weed in Eindhoven, and it wasn't a big deal. Not that big of a deal. But they pulled us over for no reason, and then they searched my bag, and I was I have a joint, and then they were it was this woman that kind of looked like my mother, She's a little bit older woman, and then they pulled us into this small village, and they searched our entire van. They kept us there for like 4 hours.
Damn.
And they searched everything, and they wrote us up tickets. We never got anything in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's legal here. It was legalized since the time that we left
a few months ago. So that would not happen now.
Well, we had a full German experience.
Nice.
We got our trailer taken from us too by the police in Frankfurt or Munich. So.
Oh. You keep coming back, so thank you.
Yeah. No. It's like we're used to. No one has. I mean, I was trying to. I accidentally. I talk about it a lot when I'm in Europe because it's not funny. It's funny to me. But in America, we have to worry about getting shot. Everywhere.
Yeah.
And when I'm here, I'm not like ever worried about getting shot.
Yeah. No, that's a big plus. And I take it for granted too.
Yeah.
To the point where like when I am in America and I'm just kind of venturing like at night, night out, and we go over to someone's house and we walk, and I'm kind of 20 meters away, and the guys are like, "Oh, you can't do that. Can't wander off by yourself." I don't know, because I just take for granted that sense of safety, but in the end, it could also happen here,
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're not going to get shot at a movie theater or a supermarket here.
Probably not.
But in America,
that's
true.
But you
got to be careful wherever you are. I mean,
bottom line, yeah. I've been following your kind of journey of self-discovery, development.
Sounds
and I heard you talk about like trauma work and somatic work with the body and stuff. I'm really interested in that stuff, and I also know that trauma is stored in the body, certain parts of the body. And for you as a singer and vocalist, especially, like I know that, for example, they say like grief is stuck kind of like in the throat and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, my question is, what effect, or if any, what effect did this somatic trauma work have on you as a singer, as a vocalist? Did it change? Did it change anything physically? Did you manage to find new ways of using your voice?
Yeah,
as
I think
an
it made it
instrument?
easier to sing, more free, open. I definitely became a better singer after doing a lot of the like trauma work and feeling like I don't have as much of that in my nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Because there were points when I was really struggling with just so many factors go into it. You compensate in substances and other ways of like trying to bridge whatever gap between emotional compensation and but it's very hard to, when your instrument's inside your body. It's one thing when you're playing guitar, you can kind of like detach yourself from the instrument in some ways, but with your vocals, it's like whatever you do to your body is gonna have some sort of representation in the way that you are using your instrument, for better or for worse. I would definitely say like there's some things that I lost from not being so bottled up. Maybe a little bit of aggression, maybe a little bit of like the kind of need to like, I used to need to be on stage and sing and like have to. Now it's like I enjoy it more. Before it was like I have to do this. It was like my form of therapy, which it's not necessarily, it's a good form, but it's like not a great form of therapy because it's never going to resolve anything. It just might help alleviate some of the symptoms, but then it becomes much like I think for a while for a long time my self-worth is attached to success of the band, and I think a lot of artists are like that, and it's always a struggle to detach those two things. It's like, well, if people don't like what I'm doing or they're not showing up, or like I used to be really triggered by watching people in the audience like not have a good time,
Oh, yeah.
You know, and now I'm like, I can't obviously control them. And who even knows, like, people have different ways of enjoying shows.
Yeah. Sometimes they're just, standing there, but actually then afterwards they come up to you and they're like, that was the best show I've ever seen. And you're like, really? You didn't look like you're having a great time, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, and then the people who are having so much fun were like, you were better last time. And you're like, but you were having so much fun.
Yeah.
But so I think when you take all those things into consideration and you're up there trying to perform, and instead of like having all these thoughts go through your head, which then affects your body, you could just sort of just enjoy the process. I mean, that's I think what it's the freedom to operate without the weight of your nervous system sort of pulling you, dictating where you're going to go and how you're going to feel, versus you having control of being able to process the everyday life, I mean,
for
versus being at the whim of like your internal narrative.
Thank you for that. That's so, that is so interesting. That whole thing, they kept me, mind-body connection, all of that for singers especially. Yeah. Especially if you're doing it night after night. Okay, maybe talking about a little bit more about how you obviously worked a lot on yourself and have been for years. How is it, so in an industry that's, I would say, saturated with a lot of ego, how is that when you work with other people who have not even considered working on themselves?
I mean, I have to do it all the time. I mean, obviously I'm not perfect, and I think there's healthy ego and then there's unhealthy ego. It's sort of like having enough to like know your worth, but also not, like I said, being triggered. When you tend to have like a fragile ego, you tend to be triggered by things that you shouldn't be or wouldn't trigger other people who might have a better sense of self. I mean, you really can't do much about other people's way they're going to move through the world. Yeah. It's kind of like, but that doesn't mean that I don't react to it. I mean, sometimes it's really hard to be around people who are, you're working with on a daily basis, whether it's, because you run into those people all over, regardless of music. Yeah, but true. There do tend to be people in the music industry who, because it's hard, because if you don't have an ego, it's kind of hard to get, would you really want to like someone's band who didn't really have like a real strong sense of self? Like a lot of bands that generally everybody likes, someone in the band, whether it's a singer or the guitar player, someone really has like a vision. And I don't think you could really have a vision if you don't have like a real ego about the way in which you see the world, and thinking that the way in which I see the world needs to be communicated to other people. So it's like, as long as you're not attached to other people having to see it that same way, the problem is like, hey, this is what I need and what I want, and you're not giving it to me. But it's sort of like, you can't expect everybody else to know or want to like be a part of, like, you can't expect everyone to like your band, obviously. You shouldn't expect that, and you shouldn't expect everyone to like you. I guess it's as simple as that, you know? Like, you're not going to be friends with everybody. It's just not possible. Some people just aren't going to like you. Yeah. And I think when you have a healthy ego, that's fine. When you don't, I think you're either triggered by that in a way that you need to make them like you, or you like actively are like aggressive to them for not liking you. And you'll see that with all kinds of people in all kinds of relationships, where they're either like codependent or they're like trying to like punish you for not, and then people who have like normal sort of egos a decent amount, can have differences of opinions and have different visions and ideas and ways they want to move through the world without like butting heads or like giving up, I guess, being like a doormat. If somebody has some empathy, it's generally because they're pretty emotionally intelligent, and that's like, even if they do have an ego of some sort, it's probably like manageable versus somebody who like has no empathy. I mean, that's always like a red flag for me when you're, not being kind to people or empathetic of other people's situations.
Yeah. But I do think that there's a kind of, it sounds stupid, but kind of like a trend nowadays also to, therapy and stuff. Everyone talks about it openly, and I think that people are
trauma
making use of
dumping,
it.
and it's everyone's like, what? Because that's a whole other thing you can get into. Like, you don't have to like share everything, and talk about everything with everyone all the time. I follow this account, Influencers in the Wild. Well, they'll like, it'll be like a TikTok of like a girl crying, like, my boyfriend just broke up with me, I can't believe this, and then it's a guy recreating it. Like, who puts a camera there to watch yourself cry,
Yeah, trauma exhibition-ism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, but I'd rather have that than people just like,
Yeah, kind of have it be this taboo.
It's the
thing.
other, now it's going the other
extreme,
way, where it's like, okay, we could probably
trauma bragging.
Yeah, reel it back. And then people also are like, well, I think one of the things too a lot of people struggle with is like, no matter what, just being alive, everyone's going to suffer. And some people are going to suffer more and some people are going to suffer less, but at the very baseline, suffering is like part of the existence.
Yeah.
In a non like depressing way, in like a literal like, so
memento mori.
Yeah, you can't really like, well, my suffering's more than you or less than you. It's not really about that. I struggle with that in the beginning. Like, how can my suffering be legitimate when there's people who can't eat? It's like, but that's just another form of, I think in Buddhism they call it the second arrow. It's like everybody has the first arrow, meaning you all get you're alive in a body, you're gonna suffer. The second arrow is the suffering that you bring upon yourself, which is like, I'm a bad person because I think I shouldn't be struggling. So.
Oh, that is so interesting. And like comparing who's got it worse. And so we were talking about it earlier, just walking here, that you're kind of in between labels and things and records and everything. These days, it's all about like fast releases and like doing a couple of one-offs here and there and collabs and EPs and like short records. Are you doing a full length, you think? Yeah,
eventually. I don't think we'll ever not do a full length.
Okay.
I don't think we'll ever just like become a singles band or short form release. I think we'll always do a record. You want to tour on a record. So if we like literally, we're just in Australia, we're here now, we're going back, we're doing all of the US, we're doing Canada. So it's like, we're gonna have to like give some space before we're like, hey, we're back and we got a new record, like, which is unfortunate because I'm ready to be back, like we're a new band constantly touring, but because we've been around so long, you can't ask your fans to come out more than once a year, really. You really gotta like, and even then you really kind of want to wait every 2 years or more so that people feel like, it's an event to come see the band.
I mean, you are definitely onto something because I like the volume of shows that I go to, like most of my favorite bands I've seen multiple times at this point, and it's just not that same excitement anymore.
Yeah.
However, you're not part of that group because, like I said, I've only seen you once, and as a festival set too, not a headliner. So
I mean, I'd like to come back and do a bunch of festivals. I think that's sort of the goal for Germany is to headline and then do some festivals and then headline and then it's like a nice break between. I saw the band play at a festival, I saw the band, and now they're headlining, and then next time they're playing a festival. I think that's a nice way to kind of be more consistent, which is something that we're hoping towards, which is something that we would do in America. I mean, the music industry is very like, there's waves of stuff. Like 10 years ago, nobody was interested in like emo revival or whatever. Like, and 10 years from now, no one might be into it. But then 20 years from now, when everyone's fucking 50 or 60 or whatever, they'll be like, I can't wait. I was like, so, at some point we're going to be like, yo, this is the last time we're going to play before we're dead. Like, you got to come.
Oh my God.
Can
you imagine?
Like Kiss and shit. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's like, I used to look at it as a very short career, and everything's short when you're young. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, I don't really plan on ever retiring unless I'm like forced to out of like health reasons, or people just stop showing up. Yeah. So I plan on doing it for the rest of my life. So I look at this as like, hey, like, you have a long 25 years or so or more is a long time. So
I've got enough time ahead of me to catch you.
Yeah.
To catch you live.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm freezing. Last question. I am living for your parental content on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. You said something hilarious, which is tour is vacation.
Yeah.
Home is work.
Yeah, absolutely.
which is so funny. Can you walk me through a day in the life? When you're at home, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, you're up at like 6 a.m. My kids are moving about, trying to wake everyone up. And then it's like, you got to get up. My daughter's got to get to school by like 8:20. So you got to wake up. You got to make breakfast for both of them. You got to, try to get yourself in order. You got to make lunch for her. You got to get them to school. Then I generally go work out. And then I got to come back and I got to do... I still do most of the business stuff for the band, so I gotta like deal with all that, as well as like projecting out the next 6 months and planning all that, as well as like if I'm in writing phase, I'll get back, I'll do the work I need to do, and then I'll write until about 2:30 in the afternoon when I have to go pick up my daughter. And then once they get home, my son's sort of around. It's a matter of if I'm taking care of him throughout the day or my wife is. If I'm not writing, then I'm pretty much taking care of him, which just means playing with him, feeding him, napping him, and then picking up my daughter. And then we get back, and then once my daughter's home, it's like you get 30 minutes of hangout time, and then we got to do homework. So homework's like a 45-minute process, and then we better have figured out what's for dinner, or else then is a problem, because we got to eat at like by six in order to get, because once 6 happens, you got to get in bed by like 8:30. So the process of bath time. So it's just like, it's a lot of work.
It's a packed day.
Yeah. And then you got to try to get to bed by at least 10 o'clock, because it's going to happen all over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, that's a lot. I mean, on tour, I slept till 11 today. I went and got breakfast for an hour. I went to St. Pauli to get merch. And then I came back here and I sound checked. And then after this, I might take a nap. Like,
so chill. Yeah, it is. It is like being on vacation, for sure.
But yeah, when I'm at home, it's like, I don't know, it's a lot. I don't know when my kids grow up, because some of our other guys have older children, and it's not like that forever. But that's hard. It's hard to keep in mind that, like, it's a grind that will end, but it really does feel like it's a lot.
You're in the midst of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they think you're cool?
No.
I
mean, kind of. Lame. I guess my daughter will tell her friends, my dad's Buddy Nielsen. They're like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is that? Like, what are you telling? Like, my dad's, he's Buddy Nielsen. And they're like, I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Like, so
hello.
I think I'm not allowed to sing anywhere within a 50-foot radius of the school, according to my daughter, because it's embarrassing.
But you're Buddy Nielsen, which she previously bragged about. She's
gaslighting me.
Little bit.
That's what her thing is. She's apparently important, but I can't. Like, if I naturally sing a lot, sing songs and whatever, like joke around. And if she catches me singing anything while walking her to school, it's like.
So you can't win.
I tried to ask a police officer near the school if I was allowed to sing. And that was a big problem. She was like really embarrassed that I was like, my daughter says I can't sing. Is this true? Like, am I going to get arrested, or can you tell her that I'm allowed to? So
she's a little dictator.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Wow. Yeah. She bribed all the policemen and stuff.
So I'm
Tough spot.
I don't know if I'm cool or not. I
through being
can't.
cool.
Yeah, I can't tell if I'm cool enough to tell her friends who don't know who I am that I'm somebody, I guess, but not cool enough to be like I'm not allowed to sing.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah, puts you in a really tough spot.
And I'm like, people pay money to hear me sing, right? Like,
I love how you're having to like sell her on your own talents. And stuff.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. So.
Wow. Anyway, you've got a little bit of vacation left until you're back to doing that.
Yeah.
And, being under her reign.
Another 8 or 9 days, and then I'm back, and
back in the grind.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, for like a month, and then we go back out. So.
Right. Cool. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a pleasure. Have an awesome show. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.